All right. I'm Michelle Gooch. If you haven't met me yet, I am the managing director of Plaid for Women and also your empowerment coach. So I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're joining us for Empowering Your Money, the tool you need to get your derailed money back. Now, we are living in a new age, y'all. If you haven't figured this out, I recently heard a podcast that said they're building entire cities that are being designed to be cashless cities. I think it was Gail. Somebody told me recently that they went to Globe Life Field and it is cashless ballpark, which means if you show up with your $100 bill, you have to go to a reverse ATM. Anybody heard of a reverse ATM? Put your $100 bill in it and it will spit out a Visa card, $100 Visa card for you. Gotta love it, right? And then you spend that, use that Visa card in the park. It's a new world. And if you aren't convinced, I also learned just yesterday that there is Bitcoin ATMs in our malls. You can go to the Arlington Parks Mall and find an ATM that will convert your Bitcoin so that you can use it in your shopping experience. It's a brave new world. So thank you for joining us. We're gonna dive into some of this unusual and new experience around money. Plaidforwomen.com is an award-winning digital media platform for women. We're like a mentor in your inbox. You will get a feature article every week. If you don't already get that, you will get that starting next week. And we know here at Plaid that you want to be empowered, right? Everywhere I go, in every coaching session I have, I feel like the answer at the end was, wow, that was so empowering. We all want to be empowering. And in order to do that, we need support. We need encouragement. We need enlightenment. And the problem that most of us have when we get backed up against a wall is that we don't know what to do next and we start to doubt ourselves. Anybody? Yeah, we doubt ourselves. So at Plaid, we believe everyone deserves access to mentors who support, encourage, and enlighten. And we know how it feels to doubt ourselves. So every writer that writes for plaidforwomen.com pours out their heart, their soul to you each month with the idea, with the purpose of empowering you. So if you haven't been there, if you haven't looked at plaidforwomen.com, if you haven't read some of the articles, man, we want you to go check it out because you will feel empowered. And that's another reason I'm excited to introduce to you my friend, Gail White. She loves to empower women. Gail is a retired insurance professional, a certified trainer, manager, director, life coach, speaker, and she is a financial literacy advocate. She specializes in helping women live healthier, wealthier lives. And if you ask her what her mission is, she says something like this: my mission is to help women live well, find fulfillment in retirement, and leave a legacy of wealth for their children's children. She doesn't say children, she says children's children. So Gail, thanks for joining us today.
Wow, thank you, Michelle, for that wonderful introduction. Michelle is one of the greatest empowerers of women I've ever seen, and it is so nice to be a part of this Plaid platform. And so I'm going to bring some information to you today, but I asked for a little help from my mentor, my friend. She calls herself my little sister. She is the one, she and her husband got me, helped me enter into this new age of money in 2017. And so she's joined us today, and she's going to help out with, add some commentary, vital commentary to the information that we're going to give. And this is no one other than Dr. Rhonda Hollins from Houston, Texas. So Dr. Rhonda, tell us a couple of things about yourself.
Well, hello, good afternoon, ladies, and thank you, Gail, for the introduction. Michelle, thank you for this amazing platform. And I'm just excited to be here. And like Gail, our mission is to help women and even the underserved that are not understanding what's going on in this wealth transfer, this transition of money. And, you know, the media tends to keep us focused in so many other areas, but we have to bring it back here simply because we need money for just about everything, right? You know, we talk about retiring and retiring early. It's all about making sure you have your money in order. So I'm excited about it. This is something I do on a full-time basis, and it allows me to connect and meet ladies, women, literally all over the world in different stages. So I'm excited to be here and share what I can share and what I've learned over the years here about money and how I'm positioning myself as well for my children's children to have something other than what we have experienced today in this crazy world. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, I believe with that, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to share my screen and bring up some slides that have information on it, but I'm just going to warn everyone, there's more information than we can process in 45 minutes. The point of what our conversation today is to whet your appetite for this new world of money and to dispel some fears and anxieties that you might have around it, and to get some feedback from you, and to put a tool in your hands that will help you to go forth and do your own research in this area, because you can't just jump in all by yourself. It doesn't work. You will drown every time. So we want to get everyone safely to where you need to be. Let me share my screen and we will get started. Okay, let me get our little photos out of the way here. Can you see the screen well? And I trust you can hear me also.
Yes.
So let's begin. Money empowerment in the digital age. Knowledge is power. You've heard that. Knowledge, applied knowledge is power, though, is what we're all about at Plaid. So just a thought or two to get us started. And Michelle has mentioned this already, but we used to say things are changing. Actually, no, that's wrong. Things have changed. Whether you like it or not, whether you're involved or not, whether you plan on getting involved or not, things have changed, will continue to change, and we want to make sure no one gets kind of left behind. So wrap your mind around this thought when it comes to money. Money needs to operate in an environment that is global, tech-based, and expressed in billions, not mere millions. And so with that thought in mind, we're going to move forward and do a couple of things. First of all, what you need to know about money. Two things you need to know. The basics of money. Most of us can't wrap our minds around the new technology because we don't know where money came from. It's just something that showed up. You know, when we were kids, it was nickels and dimes, and then it became dollar bills. But we weren't taught in school. We weren't taught in college. We weren't taught on our jobs. Most of our families of origin didn't know anything about money. We just don't know anything about money. So when someone comes in and says, now let me explain to you the new money, with no foundation in the old money or the traditional money, you can't build, you have nothing to build on. So we want to go, and this is going to be super quick, but keep in mind, just lock these terms in your mind and make note, because we're going to give a tool that helps you go and do all the research you need to fully understand all of these concepts. Then you'll be ready to embrace what the new technology, the new world of money has to offer. So quickly, you don't know anything about, or the history of money, money versus currency, the banking system, the tax system, oh my goodness, the miracle of compound interest, assets versus liability, and this term that we get all mixed up, wealth versus riches. I want to just plant the seed in your mind And we're going to show some information to help us work through these definitions. Then you are ready for the new stuff, which is so exciting. You're ready to learn about FinTech, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, Web 3.0, the metaverse, smart contracts, Forex trading. So just feast your eyes on this for a moment. If these terms mean nothing to you, do not fear. At the end of our 40 minutes together, you're going to have a beginning knowledge of these. And within a week or so, I believe you're going to get more and more detailed information. And a year from now, you'll almost be an expert. So, Dr. Rhonda, I want to start here because there's some disturbing facts that I found about the new economy, stuff we don't know and stuff they don't know. What do we mean by that?
That is right. We don't know. We don't pay attention as we should with our money. We've been taught to get a good education, go get a job, and then we work, right? And thinking that those 10, 20, 30, 40 years of work is going to be an amazing thing on the other side. Well, we don't know and realize that the banks are doing certain things with our money. We've been indoctrinated in this system for decades. So it's just normal for us to go and make deposits and hope something happens in a savings account. And it's just economics. Now, if a person went to school for economics, if a person went to school for accounting and has some ideas about numbers, and that's something different. But our education system has not taught us, and that was intentional, has not taught us about money and how money works. So just recently, I shared with an individual who had retired early, took out a lump sum package that was offered, and came to me and said, you know what, I've lost a lot of money. And I went back to my financial advisor, and they shared with me that, oh, it's okay, just hold on, whatever. And because she really wasn't aware of what goes on in the centralized system, and now this digital system that we have going on, her financial advisor was just sharing what he knows and what he was taught to tell them. Money goes down, but they don't know. Okay. And it's hard to say that, but if all of this is new and there's a lot of technology that's coming out, in most cases, you may be talking to a professional, but they don't know as well. So that old system is still there, and we have to learn, and we have to get the knowledge, acquire the knowledge to know what's going on and really take charge of our money. And I didn't mention this earlier, but my husband and I started a school of financial empowerment for that very reason, online, to help people get the knowledge and the education that they need. So that's what they don't know is all about, is that some of them are learning right along with us.
Yes, but certainly, thank you, Dr. Rhonda. If they don't know and we don't know, somebody's got to start knowing. So
Right.
I just want to throughout this seminar, we're going to put up a slide that looks like this, because we want to stop and allow you in the chat to talk about something that you learned from the previous little segment, so that we can, number one, see what you're learning, and so that in the review, you will actually sort of lock some ideas in your mind. This begins the process of applying the knowledge. And even more important than just gaining knowledge, if you gain lots and lots of knowledge and never apply any of it, that's not doing you any good. But if you gain just a little bit of knowledge and apply it immediately, so helpful in the learning process. So we want to make sure even today that we stop and allow a review of what's new. So when you see this slide, that's what it's all about. So now let's just jump in. Basics of money. We already mentioned, I'm just putting it on the screen for us to wrap our mind around it again. We're going to talk like rapid fire, drinking out of the fire hose here. Now, some people, if they had to drink out of the fire hose, would kind of cup their hands and put the hand to the mouth and sip a little. Other people would put their face right into the hose and try not to drown while they're drinking. whatever your method is, I would encourage you to use it to your advantage. But don't think we're going to stop and give great detail on any of this. We're leaving that for you to do in your own research and your review. But here we go. We're getting started. Number one, history of money. Where did money really begin? I asked someone this recently, and she went all the way back to, when money was first printed in the United States. Okay, but let's go back a little farther. And we all know, if somebody were to really test us on this, it started with the barter system. Then it was gold and silver. But this was gold and silver kind of in chunks where you had to sort of measure it out on a scale. It wasn't very serviceable in commerce. Then gold and silver coins came about. They say it was about 630 BC, and it was the Lydians. That culture decided, we're going to make coins and we're going to use this in our commerce. And it really, really took off in the ancient world. All the cultures then began to use gold coins. They used it to do commerce, to build infrastructures, and money is about waging war. Many of us don't think about that, but every civilization has found that their money system supported the building of infrastructures and the waging of war, and then they overbuilt and took on too many opponents and foes in the war, and their money became devalued. The Athenians are the ones that basically say we're the first to go through this cycle of having a good money system, building an infrastructure, waging war against the Spartans and anybody else they could wage war against, and then they began to devalue their currency. They started taking the gold coins and adding, copper. They added copper to it, and people began to notice, my gold coin is not worth nearly what it used to. That was the earliest society that devalued their money. So we've put a couple of pictures on the side here because we're moving toward, this is where money began, but look where it ended up. Dr. Rhonda, what do you want to say about cryptocurrency, the complete guide?
Yes, that's a great start. There's plenty of magazines out there now that kind of break that down. And if you can get your hands on that particular one, it talks about the bartering system. It shows you exactly what's going on, but it explains what cryptocurrency is about. And it's a new way of utilizing money. So as Gail just mentioned, we've gone through all of those things on the side there, but just think about money that's digital, that's can be shared peer-to-peer, that cuts out the middlemen. Okay, that banking system has a great way of controlling everything, but just imagine you being in control of your money and learning how you can utilize cryptocurrency, because it is definitely here to stay.
Right. So we've gone from cattle to cash to computerization. That's
Right.
simple. We get that evolution.
Yes.
Money versus currency. We think our paper money is money, but it is not money. Paper money is currency. When you do the research, you'll find that currency, of course, currencies allow us to do business. It needs to circulate like a current, and it has to be portable, durable, divisible, and fungible. You got to be able to carry it around. It's got to be durable. You don't want to put money in, something that, your currency, something physically disappears. Your dollar bill is pretty good quality paper that's not going to disappear. Divisible. That's why we have it in units of ones and tens and fives and whatever. I think it goes up to about 1,000 now is the biggest denomination of our currency. And then fungible, which means a dollar bill in my pocket buys the same exact thing in the same market as a dollar bill in your pocket. But these are what we call fiat currencies. A dollar bill only has value because the government, the United States, says this has value. It means nothing else. In and of itself, it has no value, unlike a gold coin, which has value throughout the world in and of itself. So that's the difference between currencies and tell us a little bit about real money, Dr. Rhonda, and why it's real money.
Yeah, real money, it has to be, it's really gold, gold and silver. It's something that has a long store of value over time. And it does have limited supply.
Mhm.
So, it's not this paper stuff that we've been used to. It's definitely not this paper stuff that can certainly go down in value, but real money is something that, like gold and silver,
Mhm.
that value just doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away. So when they print our money, when we get stimulus checks, we don't know where that money came from. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the overproduction of what we're calling money, which is really currency, is going to devalue the currency that we're using. And that's why inflation and other things are just eating us alive. So here's a time to review. I guess to see the chat, we have to stop share for a minute. Actually, no, we can see.
We can pull it up. Yeah, we can pull it up. So I do see one in there, but is there any questions about what we've covered so far, or anything that, let's say, for instance, that was something new that you heard that you wanted emphasis on? And we'll just park here briefly just for a moment. Miss Ruby has a comment or a question in there wanting to understand the difference between wealth versus riches.
Okay, we're getting to that for sure.
Yes. Well, we can cover that in the next part if you want.
Yeah.
To answer that question. Okay.
We'll take care of that. Let's move on. And please, as we go through, put your comments in the chat. Banking system. Okay. Something happened in a place called Jekyll Island in 1910. Sounds ominous, doesn't it? Jekyll. Anyway, the central banking system began. From the beginning in this country, the leaders and the people were against any kind of a central banking system because it takes over control and essentially will dominate the people. But at Jekyll Island in 1910, I would invite everybody to go back and do some research on this. A group of very, very wealthy people got together and in a conspiracy, I'm going to call it a conspiracy because of the way it was done, got this law written and implemented. It was implemented in December when many of the congressmen who were against this law were, where are you in December? They're celebrating Christmas with their families. So this law was enacted at that time. The Federal Reserve System is not federal. It has no reserves, and it's not a banking system. Everyone needs to understand what it does because it impacts our money in a huge, huge way. Federal Reserve System, that's number one. Understand how it impacts all of our banking and all of our money today. And that leads us right up into the tax system. The Federal Reserve System came in 1910. The tax system, 1913. And somehow the two are very much related. Dr. Rhonda, quickly tell us what happened.
Absolutely. And know why the wealthy don't pay taxes legally is important. People get caught up in, why am I paying so much taxes? But it's all by design. Robert Kiyosaki, you guys probably remember the cash flow quadrants. That E stands for employees, and they're paying as an employee about 40%. So just think about that. I want you to think about where you are. Self-employed, which comes out of the S quadrant, paying about 60%. So even though you quit your job, started your own business, there's a lot of stuff tied into running that business as an individual. 60%. The B represents big business. And big business, about 20%, okay? And the I quadrant, that's where the investors come into play, and that's zero. They can pay as little as zero. So a lot of times people are concerned about why the wealthy are not paying. Well, there's a lot of things that they are doing, but mostly they're taking advantage of the tax laws that were put into place for business owners. So that's one of the reasons that we encourage everyone to be a business owner. And not only that, but even consider home-based business, because there's a whole nother plethora of tax laws that you can benefit from. So the government has this set up as incentives, and that's where it comes into play. But legally, yes, it can be done.
Mhm. And all we have to do is learn how to act like the wealthy people act and
There you
take
go.
advantage of the tax system. It's good for the country. It's good for people in every economic situation when we learn to take advantage of the tax system the right way.
That's correct.
Review. Does anybody learn anything new right there? Someone
All right, I see
says,
some good comments coming in right there. Let's see.
I love this from Rebecca. A change of words can really make an impact of how I think about these things. Wonderful, Rebecca, like that.
That's correct. And then I'll see if I can, Ricky, if I can type that in there for you, the Latin root. And actually, some of these terms we might be able to just easily Google for the quickness of it.
Yep.
But if you see that, matter of fact, go ahead and Google that on your phone. And if you don't mind, you can type it right on in there. But
And then,
fungibilis, it looks like is the Latin term, and the meaning is to perform. Fungibility. There
right.
we go. So we can keep this going. Maybe not new, but the tax system is very frustrating for my money. Yes, that's why educating and learning a little bit more about money, how it works, can ease that, because it shouldn't be. It's just that the lack of what we don't understand about it. As for instance, the rule of 72, that's about compounding your money. And if you don't understand it, somebody else is using it against you.
Absolutely. And that's coming up in our slides too.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll keep it moving. Thank you guys for those comments.
I just want to, Michelle says, real money is limited. Currency has value because the government says so. Think about this, Michelle. That's a great comment. The government that is $33 trillion in debt says, don't worry about it. This money is good. And many of us will talk about the FDIC, Federal Insurance Deposit, what? So I worked in insurance, and many of you probably, if your insurance company is insolvent, do you really have any insurance? Just things to think about.
That's right.
So here's your compound interest. In our toolkit, we're going to put a compound interest calculator that will help us understand and really analyze if the banks are paying us 1% interest, 2% interest, 3% interest. You take that number, the rule of 72 says take the 1%, divide it into 72. It's going to take you 72 years to double your money. How long will it take you to build a retirement account if doubling your money every 72 years is the best that you can do? And so we really want to teach people and understand why the system the way it is right now, and it could change, it could improve, but do we have time is always the question. If you could get 10% interest and divide that into 72, you can double your money in 7.2 years. That's a little more doable or livable, but some banks are paying now 0.01%. And my husband did the calculation, and it's something like 72,000 years to double your money. We have to find a better way.
Exactly. And we wonder why things aren't working or why they seem broke. You know, we shouldn't have to wait a whole year and find out on a bank statement that, oh, I made 3 cents. Isn't that amazing?
And here is assets versus liabilities. It all begins with an income statement, a financial statement, which most of us weren't taught in schools. But there's income, expense, assets, liability, cash flow. The key is cash flow. And to go straight down to the question that was asked, riches are often measured in savings and immediate employment income. An athlete who earns 5 million, 10 million, $50 million a year, we call them rich. Sometimes we call them wealthy, but they're really rich because many of them, they're broke by the time they're, they're broke as soon as they quit working. Wealth is created by a cash flow that is controlled to generate residual passive income. That's wealth.
Exactly.
So
And
that's our history of money. Want everybody to go deeper and to get a fuller understanding. Review. Do we have any extra comments here? Let me just see.
let's see. And I wanted to comment also on the wealthy of having multiple income streams. That's something else. When you're employed, that might be the main source of income coming in. And anything can happen or change at that time. Even having a part-time job isn't a way to really build wealth. It's got to be some good cash flow coming in, multiple streams in most cases. That is how the wealthy continue to be wealthy. And then there's some other strategies even within that.
Absolutely. There are strategies out there, and you just have to get in a community to walk you through them. Can we change the tax law? Maybe. But can we take advantage of the one that's here and use it to help us rather than hurt us? Definitely.
Absolutely.
So,
there was a comment of repeating the definitions. Maybe at the end, we can go back to that slide so they can see it in case they were taking notes or trying to screen.
Absolutely. And these will be delivered to you in the recording. Briefly, we're moving into the new terminology now. We've got a little bit of an understanding of what the old problems were. But here we have 63% of us have never even heard these new terms. Our goal in the next 10 minutes is to make sure everyone has heard the new terms, has a little bit of a tool. Just this recording will be your first tool, what they mean, and then put you on track to do some of your own research in all of this. There are your terms. Feast your eyes. And let's start with FinTech. That's the big overarching term, financial technology. And you might want to, even screenshot or, but you're going to have this recording that you can look back at. It's innovative. It's digital. No checks, no cash, no paper ledgers. So it's just changing everything. And Michelle mentioned earlier, the cashless society. But here's what I want to focus in on. It's a $300 billion invested in the past decade. So this is not real new. It's at least 10 years old. And they're saying a total market worth of 4.7 trillion. I'm not an economist, so I don't know what market worth means, but I know $4.7 trillion is a whole lot. And if my money is going to grow, I want it to be connected with an industry that's showing these kinds of numbers, because if the numbers are big and if the growth is happening and I only have a little bitty piece, I'm still going to win. Rhonda, what do you think?
Exactly.
Blockchain technology?
Yeah, that's another one of those terms that everyone needs to get familiar with. And that means a shared, immutable, distributed ledger, as Gail just mentioned. It's a digital ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions. And you know what? That's a $69 billion market. Those little boxes that you see on the right there really represent computers. There's computers all over the world that are linked together, and any transaction that is made, it is documenting that through that process. So that's what blockchain really kind of looks like. It's blocks and it's chains of computer transactions, records of such. And the thing of it is, people always ask about that. Those are some things that can be taught easily. Those are some things or terms even that you can kind of Google to get a little bit more information. But the process here is high speed processing, and it's private. So they don't know who it is. We can look at our pictures on here, but that system doesn't know who is actually making the transaction. So that's why it's one of those things where everybody can participate. And from wherever you are in the world, you can make transactions person to person or peer to peer, business to business. And it's all done this way very easily. So we have to learn that.
All you need, I'm going to skip the review for a minute because I want to get right to cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is the currency. We've talked about what currencies are, but these currencies are on the blockchain and it's 100% decentralized, unlike our banks, which are centralized. And as Dr. Rhonda mentioned, no one knows who you are in the crypto world. They just know your number, your deposit address. The beauty of it is that you don't need a bank in order to transact business. People all over the world, anyone who has the internet, and even in very underprivileged countries, there's generally access to internet, but no bank. So women who live in these third world countries are able to transact business and actually build wealth through cryptocurrencies on the blockchain.
Yes, they just need an internet access.
Internet access.
Yes.
Web 3.0, you're going to hear about it.
Wow.
There's 1.0 read only,
Yep.
2.0 read and write, like Facebook, where you read it and you respond. And 3.0 is now going to allow ownership and participation. The big thing here is that you can create digital assets, and through cryptography, these assets can be verified. In other words, I'm not going to create a great piece of art digitally and somebody does a copy paste and hey, now they own it. Nope. The blockchain will make sure that the ownership of that asset is actually can be verified.
Okay.
Take a shot at metaverse in 1 minute, Dr. Rhonda.
I know it's a new, well, let's just say $678 billion market. So many things will be happening on there. You know, the kids are already kind of looking at it. They have those goggles, those Oculuses on, but it's a real world and it's a way to even do business out there, all kinds of things. So again, just know that it's coming, it's getting bigger, and a lot of businesses will be even interacting, and brands, as you see right there, they're going to have it to where people can buy virtually. So it's a real world.
It's a real world. My favorite quick story about metaverse is virtual real estate. A guy told me that he bought some virtual real estate. It's like a virtual Monopoly game. You buy, you sell, you trade, you make money. He made enough money 1 month to pay his actual rent. That's real.
There you go. There you go.
Finally, let's just breeze through smart contracts, contracts built on the blockchain. Our paper contracts are simply going away. They'll all be on the blockchain where it's irreversible, trackable, and self-enforcing, where no one has to verify that you actually own a piece of property, where there is physical property or digital property. Everything is going to be secure on the blockchain. And my final and favorite, Forex trading. Forex is foreign exchange trading. And you see the little graphic on the side, it kind of looks like you're following the stock market, but this is tracking fluctuating values in various world currencies, and money is to be made there, just like you can make money by buying stocks when they're low and selling them when they're high. So Forex, though, is a huge, absolute huge industry. The Forex company that we are involved with has trillions of dollars of trades per day. Wrap your mind around that. It is here, it is real, and it is one new innovative way to grow your money today. So one quick thing that I have to say, do your own research, and you might want to scan. This is an article that I wrote on the Plaid platform on how we do our own research. All of this is about helping you know where to begin your research so that you don't just get lost in the weeds trying to figure out what's this new thing. And Dr. Rhonda, engage in community, what's that all about?
Absolutely. Just like we're here right now, community is important. You don't have to do this alone. There are large communities. Gail and I are connected to communities that educate people even on a daily basis with regards to from one, getting started and learning. It's a process. So first of all, you don't want to be overwhelmed, but the importance of having a community is, can't emphasize how important that is. So it's no different than the Plaid community here and the empowerment that you get. But just imagine in the financial world, this is going on as well too. So
Absolutely. And there are good communities out there. If you don't find the first one the first time, keep looking, you'll find that great community. The toolkit that is being prepared for Plaid is a self-study toolkit that will have links to all kinds of great YouTube videos to help you gain greater knowledge in all of these topics. Robert Kiyosaki says YouTube is the best university out there. And so I just want to encourage everyone. It is in production and should be available. I'm hoping next week we'll drop it right in the Plaid platform for you to have. So keep going, keep reading, you're on track. There'll be a little information about me and the Plaid and about my FinTech project that you're going to want to know about. Also, now you have knowledge, apply it by taking action, and you will have power.
that's right. Girl power, woman power. All right.
There you go.
Love it.
So we breeze through. You can put the fire hose down now, and we'll take whatever comments that we can find. Hopefully you got a lot out of that just in knowing this is the world that I want to start exploring. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail. We appreciate you taking us through that. Now, if you're like me, it mostly just blew your mind and you have more questions than answers. Anybody with me on that? But this is the world we live in. And the reason I'm interested in it and wanting everyone else to get some education is because I have 31 and 33, two sons, 31 and 33. And one son who has a bunch of cryptocurrency and made a ton of money on it, and also carries a kind of a Visa card that is cryptocurrency, but he uses it everywhere and it gets converted into whatever. If the store needs dollars, and that's what they need. This is the world that generation is living in already. And I'm just trying to catch up.
Yes.
So this is why I want us to get exposed to this and begin to understand what's happening out there and how to move forward in this world. And apparently on top of that, there's money to be made. And if it's going to, it might as well be us, right? Might as well be us to make some of that money and use it in the ways that whatever assignment we've been given in our life. So do you have any questions? We have a few minutes left. Do you have any questions that you want to ask Gail? Or do you just want to take her to coffee for about 3 hours sometime? She doesn't have that much time, but okay. Hey, Peggy, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, so are you going to teach us how to make money, or do you have a program, or where do we go from today?
Okay, excellent question. Thank you. And you know those great big QR codes that I showed, and I can put those back up. The one that talks about our community is a place you can go to find the project that Dr. Rhonda and I are involved in. And it will give you some information about it. You know, we didn't want this to be a marketing call. This is information. But if you go there, you will find what we're involved in, number one, and you will find my contact information, my email address and my phone number. And so we encourage everyone to start right there, because once you get some specific information, but the purpose of what we talked about today is many people go to that website and go, well, I still don't understand why you can get such great returns on Forex trading. Well, go do some research on Forex trading and see. This is where the banks make their big money. They take our money and they trade it overnight. in the Forex market and they make great money. What if you could find a way to access that? Usually you have to have a lot of money to make that money, but there are people that are figuring out individuals can do that, and let's do it.
That's right. And just to add to that, it's about putting your money to work.
Mhm.
Think about that. If it's just sitting somewhere, getting dusty, or earning you 0.001%, that's not good. So you have to find a way to change. And there's some very, very amazing resources, as Gail mentioned, that can help you to position yourself to be your own bank and get some of that money, the same money that the banks are taking advantage of us all on. So yeah, putting money to work is the key thing.
And I'm going to type in the chat because my website is very simple. It's gailwhite.net. So
Yeah, that's the perfect way to start. If you really want to start figuring this out, contact Gail, find her info and start learning from her. Anybody else have a question? Thanks, Peggy. That was a great question. Y'all all look like your hair's been blown back.
that was the goal.
That was the goal. And so we're excited that that's what you've experienced. So let me just repeat, we will send this recording out to you next week via email. So if you've registered, whether you were present or just registered and couldn't get here, everyone's going to get it. And we'll also send out the tool that Gail mentioned that is in production right now, but it should be ready next week. We will also send that to you so that you can get into the terms, into all of it a little bit deeper. And then you can contact Gail and say, okay, here's what I don't understand, or here's what I need.
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yes, my suggestion is dip your toe in the water.
Mhm.
You know, before you fully understand everything, take a few $100s and try something.
Mhm.
Because when you do that, there's this, you know, I'm a Bible person, but there's a scripture says where your treasure is, there will your heart be. I think it should be the other way around. But if you put a little bit of your treasure someplace, your mind, your heart, your understanding is going to follow that treasure. So that to me is how you start out.
Ricky, you got a question? If you'll just unmute yourself and ask. Or do you need me to unmute you? Let me find it.
I don't think it lets you anymore.
Oh, there you go.
I'm trying to unmute it on my phone and the little thing's not coming up.
Okay.
So I am like this really old fashioned, I have to walk into a bank. I have to walk in my paper deposit and my money and my checks and hand it to a human being and have them run it through their stuff. And they have to physically hand me a receipt, you know, and my husband is the treasurer of Arlington. So he does everything on the internet, you know, trading millions and millions of dollars. That's how he does it. Never sees a piece of paper ever. So between the two of us, I feel like there's a sweet spot in the middle where I mean, I'm still not comfortable taking a picture of a check and assuming it's gone into my bank. So I have a long way to go. And so what kind of blows my mind is that, you know, I'm just so old fashioned in that, you know, if I work, I make money and then I put that money into the bank, and making the money work for me is where I struggle because that's what you guys are saying. There's money out there to be made, and I'm going, but I didn't make it. How is it making itself? And I need way more education in that. And I'm married to a guy who knows all this stuff, but it doesn't sink in when he tells me.
Well, come to our community. We'll help you out.
There's
There's
also
nothing nicer than going to bed at night and waking up in the morning.
I can't turn it off.
And turn up your volume.
Turn up my volume.
Yes,
Okay.
we can't hear anything.
She's getting instructions. Let me see.
I was just going to say, there's nothing nicer than going to bed at night, waking up in the morning and finding out there's this money in an account that you can take your little card and go spend. And you're not real sure where it came from, but money never has to sleep, never has a sick day, never retires.
It's working.
It just works. You know, we all need slavery is a concept that we all kind of, is horrible, but we want servants to serve us. Money, you can actually make money your slave and it's okay.
So Ricky, I think that was a great illustration of the two worlds we're living in right now. And probably 5 years ago, I started trying to get financially literate, but also get myself free of a money mindset that held me stuck. And I did not realize that as a lower middle class child, growing up in a lower middle class family, I was learning something completely different about money than my wealthy friends were learning from their parents. And what I learned was go to your job, get your paycheck, put it in the bank. And the wealthy friends were learning, make sure your money is making money. And that's how you're going to purchase your luxury items. I never got that education. So I'm trying in my 50s to figure that out. So that was a great comment from you and question. And there's some books out there that you may want to just kind of start understanding. When I started understanding, I had a different education as a lower middle class child than my wealthy friends did. I was in shock. Even to the point where they would call buying a home, a liability, not an asset. I had no idea. So that's all new information, but there are books out there that I know you love to read. So there are things out there that can help you understand it all. And we want to be respectful of your time. And so let me just move us on. If you need more information and can't get a hold of Gail, send me your questions and I will get them to her. But we will send you all of this. You'll have Gail's contact information. So thank you, Gail and Dr. Rhonda. We appreciate your time and your knowledge here.
Thank you, Michelle. I do want to special thanks to Reiko and Reveille and Kathy Jewell and who else do I see that's from our community that has joined the Plaid community today. Our goal is to get communities together because we as women, we don't need to make up our own stuff. We need to come together in community and pull communities together. That's our power. So thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Just a quick announcement. Tomorrow on Facebook at 10, Plaid is hosting Taking Time for Tea with Christy. That'll be with Christy Eckler. That's at 10 a.m. You can jump on Facebook and join us then. Christy is actually going to share how losing her sight brought her some clarity. So she's really going to talk about her why and how losing her sight brought some clarity. So you're going to want to jump on that. If you're not available at 10, it'll be on the Plaid Facebook page. You can find it in the videos afterwards. And then finally, March is Women's History Month. So I'm imploring you, go out and make some history, girls, in the month of March and the rest of the year. All right, it's good to see all of you. Have a great day.
Thanks to everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.